So it's late at night, and I really want to show you this. So I just thought I'd film a little behind the scenes, which means no prep, no crew, no makeup, no nothing. But this is easy and fun. And, you know, I went back over all of our wraps. You guys, I've done so many wraps, even so many wraps that you guys said to me, quit doing wraps. Well, now's the time to go over those wraps and mix those wraps with a fur, because we've got this beautiful fur, and it's a great, there's so many different wraps you can do. I'm just going to do a really easy one. I'll link this to our Series 8, our Fit to Stitch PBS show, Series 8, Episode 1. And the very first series, we did wraps. And this was the very first one I did. But because now we've got the fur, I want to link them together and show you a few things that you'll just need to be careful of, okay? That's the goal. All right, so this particular fur, now this is a mélange. It's mélange. It's French for a myriad or a multiple or just a whole bunch that come together, kind of. And this is a selvage, so it's 60 inches wide. But because it's a faux, you know, the fur has to run, it's a fox. So the fur has to run one way. And so we did this 45 inches long. You can buy a yard and you can splice it. I'm going to show you, because you don't have to splice the length. I'm going to splice the length. I'll show you. So first what you're going to do is you're going to make it 45 long, which is the length that I've cut. I cut a little more than a yard. And I'm going to cut it 5 inches wide. So we're going to get our, see, I'm actually going to just leave the selvage because I love the way it looks. And so I'm going to use the selvage as one edge, and then I'm going to go 5 inches in and cut the length. So 5 inches in is right here. And you're going to put your scissors underneath and just right under. Now we give you a really good example as to how to do this. So you can see when you're cutting, you're still going to have that fur. And it's going to hang over the edge. So the goal in doing that is you're going to see that we don't even have to finish the edges. We're not going to finish the edges because the fur has not been cut, and it's going to hang over the edge very nicely. So with this that's here, and I showed you in the episode I just referred you to, but I'm going to do it again. If you cut from the front and you cut through it, and the comparison I made was like putting a bowl on your head and cutting a haircut. It's going to look terrible. You're going to ruin your fur. So don't do that. So this is the piece I'm cutting. Just literally just barely put your scissors underneath the backing. And you can see my print is on the backing, so it's really easy to do my little 5 inches wide. And I cut my width. And that's all I'm going to use. The cool thing about all this, I'm making a mess. That's because I cut across it. You notice that when I cut it, there's like hardly anything coming out from it. This fur is so high quality, it just doesn't, it doesn't come out. I'm really, really impressed with it. Okay, so I cut it 45 inches long. That's the length I'm going to have it, and 5 inches wide. Okay, now one end was yucco. It was just cut raw, you know, it wasn't cut with care. I'm going to leave that because I'm going to show you something. So from the end, about 5 inches up from the end, I'm going to cut a slit, and again, don't cut through, just put your scissors barely in, and you're going to cut that to be 4 inches long. And the reason you're cutting it 4 inches long is you're going to make a little wrap, is what we're making. And this end is going to go through this end. And that's what you're going to use to snug it up. Is that adorable? It's so cute. Okay, but remember this end was yucky, and it's yucky because it's all the fur is going one direction. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and that's why I said, don't worry about this messed up end right now, because we're actually gonna sew it. You're gonna fold it in half. And again, don't cut through, just nicely cut here. Literally just barely put your scissors underneath, cut along. And because I want all the fur going in the same direction, this is the piece I'm going to turn around. This was the yucky end, remember? And we're going to put this together. And I'm going to sew it, but right now you're not going to see me sew it. So I'm just going to pin it. But you can do, even if you're not a sewer, you can just do this by hand. Because once you stick all the fur in between, now where you cut that, a little bit will come out, but just if you notice, it's just a little tiny bit. The rest is anchored in really nicely. We have cut and shipped a lot of this fur, and I'm truly amazed at how little mess we have. I'm amazed. I mean, I thought, oh, this is just going to be a disaster. It hasn't been at all. It's been incredible. So the reason I'm doing this is I want all the fur going in one direction. Okay, and so I'm going to make that little seam. It's going to be on the back side. And so now what you see, no, all the fur is going in one direction. What I want now is I want it to end there, and I want it to end there. See, so now when I put this around, and it'll be in the back of my neck and you'll never see it, this is going to go through my slit. My slit is here, so you don't even see the slit. You don't need to face it. You don't need to do anything. Is that so pretty? It's so pretty, you guys. Under a coat, it's just beautiful. So a yard, you can see a yard, because you don't need the whole length. Cut as one because it's all going in one direction. So you're only going to cut, a yard will do it, and cut 2 strips. So I said 45, cut each one. Half of 45 would be 22, 23 seam allowance. Cut a strip that's 23 long, 5 inches wide, and you can make so many adorable little scarves that you could, great holiday gifts. I love this. So I just wanted to share with you a quick idea how to cut, how to make sure it's all going one direction, because if something you're making, it ends up where, you know, you need it to go around the neck, you want to start from the back of the neck and go one way, and the back of the neck and go the other way, so that both ends end with this really beautiful ending. This has such a great pattern to it. You can really decide how you want the pattern to go, and oh my gosh, there's so many fun things to do out of it. I told y'all to make a throw, but I don't know, this is really a great fun thing to make. And of course you can cinch it up and get it nice and close, and it feels amazing. So even though there's just so little sewing, and again, watch that episode because I show all of this again. The length is 45, the width is 5. You make a little slit 4 inches long, 5.5 inches from the end. Very simple to do, but really fun. So happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.